Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, I want to show you what Cinderace is going to look like when Rebel Clash is legal for tournament play. I do believe this has a legitimate chance to be one of the very best decks in the format, and given that the next time we play tournaments, we're all going to have Rebel Clash to play with, it seems like we should probably take a look at what the deck is going to look like with Rebel Clash. And we're playing a whole bunch of other Pokemon here, we'll get there in a moment, but to be clear, this is very much a Cinderace VMAX deck. Now, Cinderace V is fine. Free retreat if there is a stadium in play, free energy 140 damage, and bearing in mind with Welder, right, we can just Welder, attach for turn 140, and you can do this on your first turn going second, the first turn you're allowed to play supporters and the first turn you're allowed to attack, so it's fine. There are going to be plenty of games where your opponent passes to you and you go Welder, energy 140, take a KO, maybe even string a couple of KOs together. I am not in any way, shape or form saying that this is a bad attack. I'm saying that it is fine, it's your starter for 10, but it's not really what you want to be doing. What you really want to be doing here is attacking with Cinderace VMAX. Now, Cinderace VMAX has two redonkulous attacks. For free energy, you do 170 plus burn. And again, free energy means just Welder and attachment for the turn. Burn puts on 2 damage counters between turns and your opponent flips a coin. And if heads, they're not burned anymore, but at least they've still taken the 20 damage. That's all right. That's fine by me. But the real genius of Cinderace here is that for 2 energy, 30 damage, plus as much damage as you received last turn. Not as much damage as is on there, as much damage as you received last turn. And you got 320 HP. So getting a one-hit KO here is very, very difficult. Which means your opponent hits you, you're allowed to heal if you want, and then you hit them back harder. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the genius of Cinderace here, and I absolutely love it. Go Cinderace! Now, there are a bunch of other Pokemon that we play just to support ourselves. We've got one copy of Heatran GX. We're seeing this more and more as time goes by. Players are playing one Pokemon GX just because they want a GX attack. And this is a good GX attack to have. The ability, when you put it in the active, you may move as much fire energy over to it from your other Pokemon as you like. Free energy 130 is worse than Cinderace V, and you've got 20 less HP, so there's no reason to use it, except for if you get the energy on using the ability. But what we do like here is a GX attack that does 50 damage for each energy on Heatran. Remember, the ability moves energy over. So what you essentially do is pile energy on Heatran, and this is your one giant attack. It's your GX attack. Now, we do play Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, though not for the GX attack. We play it for the main attack. Free colourless energy, 60 damage base, plus 60 more for each EX and GX that your opponent has in play. It's not going to work against every deck. And as Pokemon V get bigger and GXs get smaller, yes, this is going to get less and less good. But there are still plenty of matchups where this is going to be good. Pikachu and Zekrom tends to still play lots and lots of EXs and GXs, and it's a one-card tech for if you face that kind of deck. So that's quite nice. We've then got, well, a bunch of support Pokemon. 3 copies of Dedenne GX, discard your hand, draw 6, helps you get rolling. We've got 3 copies of Jirachi. If it's in the active, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer card, put it in your hand, Jirachi goes to sleep, but then you get free retreat with a skateboard and everything is lovely. And then we've got a single copy of Eldegoss V. This is the one whose ability is literally just Versus Seeker. When you play it from your hand to your bench, you get to put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. And that's going to be very, very useful. Now, speaking of supporter cards, obviously we play 4 Welder, that should be fairly obvious. But we also play 3 copies of Professor Magnolia. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. It is the fastest, most aggressive supporter card that we have in the format at the moment, so absolutely it should be seeing a whole bunch of play. And we've got 2 copies of Boss's Orders, Giovanni. This is the one that's literally just a reprint of Lysander. You get to drag one of your opponent's bench Pokemon into the active. That's pretty gosh darned important. Along with Eldegoss, these are the new cards from the set which coming into the deck. Really, this is just an updated list showing you how you should be going about playing it. Now, we also have 2 copies of Mallow and Lana. Mallow and Lana switches to the bench and heals 120. You're playing a giant 320 HP Pokemon that gives up free prizes. Healing so you don't give up free prizes seems like a pretty gosh darned good idea. Now, in terms of Pokemon search, we've got 4 Quick Ball because you're playing a whole bunch of basics. But we've also got 1 copy of Evolution Incense and 2 copies of Pokemon Communication that can help you go and get your evolutions. Because you are going to need some evolutions, because your main attacker is an evolution. Seems fairly obvious to me. We've got 4 copies of Switch to go along with our 2 copies of a Skateboard, and this is because you need to be getting your Jirachi in and out the active. But you're also, that's for the ability, but you're also playing a whole bunch of tech cards here, your Heatran, your Megalophony and Jigglypuff, so you need to be able to get them in and out the active as the game suits. And while we're talking about switching, it's very, very relevant here that Cinderace V has free retreat when there's a stadium in play. I know that it seems like a little thing, and I told you it's not a reason to play the card, and I meant it, right? It's not a reason to play the card. But there's almost certainly going to be a stadium in play. You're playing 4 stadiums. Your opponent is probably playing a bunch of stadiums. So we're using Switch and we're using a skateboard and all of that. It's really nice to have a free retreater. Yes, obviously you want to switch to Jirachi and free retreat it with a skateboard. But just having a free retreater to whack active when you don't have a Jirachi or when you play a Switch or whatever can be kind of relevant. It's a nice little bonus, especially when you're playing so many switching cards. We do play a copy of Great Catcher here. Discard 2 cards from your hand, gust up an EX or GX. Again, it's only good against EX and GX decks, but there's enough EX and GX Pokemon running around at the moment that we think this is alright. We are okay with this. We play 2 copies of Fire Crystal here. Now, Fire Crystal is a very interesting one. It gets free fire energy from your discard into your hand, but we're really not playing a whole bunch of other fire tricks here. We're playing Fire Crystal, and we're playing Giant Half, which gets your energy out of your deck. There are a bunch of others we're missing. Obviously, we are playing 1 copy of Heat Factory Prism Star here, because being able to discard a fire energy from your hand and then draw 3 cards is pretty gosh darn good. We're not playing the burn tricks, though. There's no Well of Volcano Park to keep your opponent burned. There's no Burning Scarf to burn them when they attack you. We've kind of left that behind, apparently, and that is one of the big changes we see in the deck here. Little bit sad, but then again, there's nothing to stop you playing those tricks. We do seem a little bit light on Energy Search. There's no Fiery Flint, for instance, and we're not playing all of those burn tricks. But we got enough here I think we should be happy about. The last card I haven't mentioned yet is 1 copy of Giant Charm. It gives you an extra 30 HP. But remember, or Big Charm as it actually got translated, one thing you need to remember here is that this is a deck that is relying on your opponent hitting you but not one-hit KOing you. So being able to survive a hit with 30 extra HP seems like a pretty gosh darned good thing to do. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. I like this deck. I think Cinderace VMAX absolutely has a chance. With Rebel Clash, the cards we're bringing in are Eldegoss and Boss's Orders for better gusting and more consistency. But you'll notice that this deck looks quite a bit different to the last list we showed you. I figured it was very much worth an update. But I would like to know what you think about Cinderace. I'd like to know if you would play the burn tricks. I'd like to know all of your opinions. So, let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.